Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on Channel 1 television here in Accra, Ghana. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, get the right guests, and ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. Well, as far as we are concerned, there's one main topic. It's an environmental suicide being committed upon Ghana. The I Stand Against Galamsey, hashtag Stop Galamsey Now crusade marches on. And tonight, we're dealing with this in two ways. We'll be walking, or more like flying, with one of our journalists in Ghana who's been covering Galamsey for many, many years, who's brought some latest videos of the devastation Galamsey has caused across the country. In the past few days, there's also been some activism. A Rocha Ghana has been doing a placard campaign against irresponsible mining, as has the Democracy Hub. We'll update you on both on tonight's edition. Stay with us. Welcome back. So on The Point of View tonight, we want to show more than tell, because one of the maxims of television broadcasting is show, don't tell. We've been told by scientists that the level of devastation caused on the lands and water bodies of Ghana may take 10 years to recover. Some estimates say it may be $650 million or even $1 billion, the cost of reclaiming the devastation caused by irresponsible mining, particularly Galamsey. So tonight, I'm going to start with Edem Srem. He's a freelance journalist who's been covering this story for more than a decade. We've interviewed him on this show before, where he bravely followed the work of miners, exposing their methodology, the effects of their work on forests, water bodies, and on farms. He's joining us tonight to show us his latest work as part of our campaign against this devastating practice. Edem, thanks for joining us. Good evening. I guess for those who don't know you, of all the topics in the world, why did Galamsey become your number one? Because I know you've been covering Galamsey for at least 10 years. What about it piqued your interest? And tell me a bit about your journey in journalism.
So it's a great worry for me. And also because our cocoa farms are not on large scales. Like maybe you find at a particular place 100 acres of cocoa. It's not like that in Ghana. So they are fragmented farms, which gives us the numbers. And these numbers have been dwindling since 2013, when I started making videos on illegal mining in Ghana. And well, my journalism journey started from GBC Bolga when I did my national service, but I was also doing feature stories for Ghana Today, if you quite remember. On Unique FM, and I was doing feature stories for Ura Radio in Bolga as well. That was where I did my national service. And after that, I had the opportunity to continue my national service with the BBC Radio Plymouth in UK for 6 months. And then I came back to Ghana and joined TV Africa. And I left TV Africa. Okay, so at TV Africa, I was doing feature stories, documentaries, and human interest stories. And my passion for journalism has been that a journalist is supposed to tell stories that other journalists are not able to do or are not able to tell. So I'll go the extra mile to do stories that will bring impact to communities or to those that are not able to speak. Yeah.
Wonderful. So which specific places has this Galamsey interest taken you? By that I mean, tell me some of the places you've gone in the quest to cover Galamsey for the public.
Okay, so with Galamsey, I've done quite a movement, starting from on the Brim River in the eastern region around the Kibi areas. I've done, let me say almost the Achim areas. I've covered issues related to Galamsey there, and then the biggest one in the Achim area now is the Tiwa Forest, which is being also used which Galamseyers have gone into. And also I've done stories from the central region around the Trifopraso areas. I've done stories in the western region. But I think I've done more on the western region than any other part of the country. And I've done a couple in Upper East and in Upper West. But those are, because they are rock mining, the distraction level is limited. So I don't focus on that so much than the alluvial gold mining, which is now happening massively in Western and Ashanti regions.
When you say Western region, this includes Western North, I believe.
Yes, Western North. I was in Western North yesterday, and it's happening there. Galamsey is happening there.
Which region would you say has the worst incidence of this thing? Are you able to tell? Western proper.
Yeah, so for me, if I'm ranking the regions in terms of illegal mining or Galamsey, I'll start, Western region comes on top. Western region comes on top, followed by Ashanti region, and then Eastern region, then Western North. Then you have pockets of places in the Ahafo areas, and then the Bono region and the Bono East regions. Those are not too massive.
All right. Now, in the Western region, can you mention the specific places that you've seen this happen, i.e. either locality or district or towns? Which are the big culprits in the Western region that have become notorious for the damage that is done?
Well, I'll not even limit it to Western region. I think the whole Ghana now, the place that has become more notorious for indiscriminate mining, as I want to put it, is between Ayamfuri and Bogo. So moving on that stretch, you see that it is happening day and night. That is where the mining activity, which is causing a lot of havoc to the land and the forest, is happening. And if you be playing the video, you see that, or if you look at some of the pictures that I've published, you realize that they are even digging in towns. They are mining in towns. So you can imagine what will happen to people living in those places that have nothing to do with the mining. So it's so you have towns like Dadieso, you have Akonsia, you have Japan, you have German, you have Wasai Kropon itself, and then you have Ayamfuri itself, and you have Dadieso, Dadieso, then you have Diaso. All those areas, there is massive mining happening.
Before we go to your latest work, the last time we interviewed you, you showed us this photo, which for many people has become iconic for the Galamsey problem. So this was taken, I think, a few months back. Where is this in particular, so that we can work on the timeline? This is Dadieso. So is the road is? Can you describe what is here in terms of where we are? Because I've seen this before, but for those who haven't watched this yet, what was going on here and what time of the day was this?
This is I think around 10 a.m. and this is a lineup of what they call the Chamfan or the Toto, which does the gold processing. And this is Wasada DSO, where it's by the main Bogoso Ayamfuri Road. And this is a number of miners with their Chamfans, and they mine using these machines. So after the excavator has dug, bring the ore, they use these machines to process the ore and then they add mercury to it to get the gold.
I counted about 40 of these Chanfans. Roughly how many people were at this site as of 10 a.m. when you captured this? Were you able to estimate after counting?
About hundreds of people. Let's say, about 150, let's say.
Yeah. 150. And of course, because you took this as an aerial shot, you may not have spoken to everybody, but were you able to tell if they were from the community or they were people who had been brought in from elsewhere?
Okay, so what happens is that most of these miners are not from the communities. They are from elsewhere. The majority of them are from elsewhere. And you can talk of Volta region, Eastern region, you can talk of Northern region, you can talk of Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, all of them are there. But mostly it is not done by, most of them are not indigenous of the towns that they work in.
All right, now let's go to your latest work. And I think it was on Tuesday that you released a photograph. And then you released a video today. I was hoping we could show the photograph first. Why did you release that photograph and what is it showing? Because I think yesterday it was the main talk on social media. It was, I think, a group of about 6 photos. Just walk me through the photo first and why you chose to put it out at the time you did.
Okay, so I realized that the whole country is talking about illegal mining, small-scale mining, and the devastation it's causing to lands and water. So I decided that, okay, if that's the case, then let me go to the Wasa areas and see what's happening, whether something has been done about it. And that is the reason why I went in to do those photos and videos. Yeah.
When was that particular photo taken?
That was Sunday.
So this is Sunday, the 22nd of September.
Yeah, of September, yes.
Around what time?
Like 12.
Wonderful. Now,
yeah, I didn't get much of them working because at most of the places it was what they call the breaking day, so they don't go to work. So I didn't bother to take some of the machines because I was thinking I have some of those shots already.
Now let's watch the video that you released today. I think you sent the video out around, I don't know, 3 p.m. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let's see it and then you walk me through. So, indiscriminate mining happening at Wasa Dadieso, Akonsia, and Japa. Can you? By the way, where is the road? I'm lost. Where is the road? Is this okay? So this is the same place you showed us 3 months earlier.
Yeah, and so now 3 months ago, let's say they were facing the north, and now they are facing the south.
Okay, so the road on our left, does it point north? So will north be where we are, where the text is on top?
Yes,
Wonderful.
That is north.
So the initial photo you sent us, they were facing north, but now they're facing south. But it's the same area.
The same area.
So I noticed greenery on the right, a town on the left, and then the mining in the middle. Just describe the place for us. And is this actually a forest, or what is on top there? Okay, so
this is. It used to be a forest, but actually not a forest reserve. But it used to be a forest, very beautiful and good vegetation. But because of the mining activity, it's gone or it's lost. And if you look at how they are mining, you can see that it's so close to the main road. And this is dangerous because when it rains heavily, communities can be cut off from each other because the rains will be able to move on the asphalt, or even if possible, cut the asphalt into two.
So
all
this brown area used to be green before these guys got here.
Very green. Very green.
Did your camera capture the whole thing, or this is just an angle of it?
This is an angle. It's deep, actually. It's deep. But because of the some of the vegetation cover and where I was standing, I had issues with signal transmission from the drone to the remote. So I couldn't go too far to show the huge damage they have caused to the environment.
How big is the area in question that has been turned brown? Is this the size of the town itself or much smaller?
The area that has been damaged is bigger than the township itself. It's bigger than the town. And unless surveyors are able to measure, but if you look at it, you can see that it's maybe about 40 football fields.
About 40 football fields?
Yes.
How many excavators were on the site when you took this? Are you able to remember?
So at one point where the counted us, but there are lots of excavators around in other pits, and also there are lots on standby for rent in these areas.
Is it fair to describe this as small-scale mining? Because if you've listed almost 10 excavators, 150 people, 40 charm funds, 40 football fields, that doesn't seem like a small scale. I mean, small scale is what you do in a market, right? 2 or 3 people. So are we misunderstanding this when we call it Galamsey? Is this more a medium scale, unregulated, irresponsible mining based on what you are showing us now?
No, we can't say it's regulated mining, because if it's regulated, some of the pits have been abandoned already and you can see the muddy pools around. So if it's regulated, then whoever is regulating would have made sure that those pits that have been dug are covered properly, and that is responsible mining and sustainable mining. But if you leave the pits, then I don't think anybody is regulating them, and that is where the problem lies, because you have children, because they are closer to communities, you have children play around and some of them fall in the pits and they die. And these pits, mosquitoes like muddy pools, and it means that very soon we'll be having a lot of malaria cases when the National Malaria Control is fighting to eliminate malaria completely. But illegal mining and unsustainable mining is bringing mosquitoes back into these communities, and will be lagging behind in the fight against malaria.
We would also speak to other people in this conversation, showing you Galamsey's devastating trail. This is a part 2 of what we did initially a few months back. As we repeat the clarion call, I stand against Galamsey. Stop Galamsey now. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is The Point of View. Hashtag I stand against Galamsey. Hashtag stop Galamsey now. Indeed, we're asking for 4 things. We're asking for a state of emergency to be declared by the government to let Galamsey and irresponsible mining be given the right of place in terms of its importance. We're also asking for a cessation of all mining, a moratorium on mining near river bodies and water bodies all over the country. We're also asking for the LI 2424, that LI that allows for mining in forest reserves to be revoked or repealed. And then, of course, LI 2462. And then finally, we're asking for a plan for recovery of the land. My guest for this part, Edem Srem, journalist, freelance, showing some unbelievable scenes. Edem, before we lost you, I was asking if some of what you saw in terms of the mining was happening in people's houses, or because I saw some roofs there. Were they houses for people in the town, or these were shelters built for the miners to temporarily stay in?
These are houses. They are houses, not shelters. These are houses, and it's like no regard for sustainability and no respect for people, indigenous landowners who have put up their small buildings. Once their gold is there, that is where they want to work. So some of them will tell you that what they want is under their building. So if they have to pull down their buildings, they will do so to mine.
Because of the nature of what you do, I'm not sure you go close enough to talk to the miners. But it is reported that some of these people are armed. In your journey across the country, have you seen this? Can you confirm that some of the people doing this have weapons?
Yes, they have, Bernard.
And
so what I do is after everything, sometimes we take taxi or trotro, and then we go into the towns and we have discussions with them. Yeah, but probably as they are seeing me on TV, maybe they'll.
But what
I do something,
what is the attitude of the townsfolk? Because you mentioned that they are so Akonsia in Japa. When you talk to people in these communities, are they happy with this? Do they agree with this type of thing?
Well, the communities always say that the gold makes the town hot. But now you need to see what happens in the night in these towns. Most of the miners return in the evening, and truly the atmosphere is hot, lit. I tell you, because when they come out, they are buying stuff and they are blowing the money because they know tomorrow when they go, they will get more money.
Wow.
Yeah, so the town folks are not actually, they don't care about whatever happens to the land. Once they are making money from the activity, they are okay because the economy is booming. So, and there are some few towns that the indigenes that happen to be part of the mining are able to put up their own houses. At least it's expanding the towns and villages. But also there are some of them. I know one guy. He's called Papa. He does. I'll say a very sustainable and responsible mining. He makes sure that he doesn't mine close to a river. He digs a pond himself and store rainwater, and then he recycles it to process the gold. And once he finishes, he covers the pit before he moves to another place. So there are, let's say, about 5% who are doing the right thing, but the rest of the 95%, they are not. And the reason they give is that they spend a lot of money to rent the excavator, and they spend a lot of money to get fuel. So it will be costly to reclaim the land after they are mined, and there is no time. That's what they always tell you, that time no day for us to go and cover the pits.
Stay on the line. Let me talk to Daryl Bosu of A Rocha on what he makes of what you have done, and then we'll come and see if we can wrap this up. So tonight we're trying to follow the trail of Galamsey through the lens of a freelance journalist, Edem Srem, who's been traveling across the country, taking drone shots of the devastation and talking to people as well. Daryl Bosu is I think the vice president of A Rocha, which is a civil society group in the environmental space. They've been campaigning for Galamsey to be stopped and all kinds of irresponsible mining to cease. Darrow, thanks for joining us. Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard, and thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Before we talk about what you've been doing, I wanted you to comment on the videos I will be showing, because Edem has been so brave in taking some startling photos and videos of places devastated by irresponsible mining. And as I show them, I just wanted to ask you, in your work, is this the worst you've seen, or have you seen worse places than this? Because I know you do travel across the country a lot. Have you seen anything quite like this as you travel around Ghana following the trail of irresponsible mining?
Well, Bernard, I can say that I have not seen any place as devastated as you see in the Ayamfuri areas, the Wassa areas, as you see in these pictures. This is the worst ever that we could come to. Maybe the areas that come close is when you are traveling from Kumasi or coming to Accra, from Accra going to Kumasi, you get to Edem on the Birim area to the left of the bridge. Behind that, if you cast your eye into the distance, you can see this kind of destruction and devastation. Also, as you move from Osino towards Edem on the opposite side of the district assembly, you see quite a large area that has been pillaged by these miners. But I'm telling you, the Ayamfuri areas is the worst, and it looks like that is where a lot of the action is. And that for me is actually where the crime scene of Galamsey is all happening.
From an environmental point of view, this brown gash that we see in the land, what are we losing, and how long would it take to bring this back to what it was before this happened there?
Bernard, the question you've asked is so difficult. For what we know about mining and how a lot of the pollution and then the heavy metal contamination comes out as a result of this activity, I'm just afraid as to what we are going to find in terms of the exposure in this area, particularly from all the waste coming from all these small pits and activities. Where is all of this going? Is going to the rivers. And then the area that this activity is happening also, let's talk about the mercury that is being used, which gets smelted, and then eventually it gets vaporized into the air. I'm sure there is likely to be some vapor of mercury toxin in the air in this particular area. And then also what else is going into our rivers? And I have to say, this land, even if it is reclaimed in the future, we really need to be very, very careful what happens in these areas. Even for the small areas that the miners are working, they finish, they level the ground and they go back. We have seen that these areas are exposed to heavy metal contamination and beyond levels that are conducive for human consumption, particularly if you find these in the food crops that are grown in these areas. I think it's a lot of risk and exposure to water and every other thing in that area I just can't fathom. And I feel that it looks like a crime scene, looks like a guerrilla field where there's no law. And I can't imagine how the state can be so negligent, so indifferent. It doesn't explain. It's as if there's no leadership in this particular area. Actually, those parts look like it's not part of Ghana, a country with this kind of laws as we have been exposed to. It's actually a shame. And I think every Ghanaian who drives through those areas will be devastated by what is happening.
But is it fair to call this small-scale mining? Because Edem showed us at least 10 excavators. The size of the area is over 40 football fields. There were 150 people there. This does not seem like a small-scale endeavor. You follow. Do we need to qualify this properly and call it by what it is, irresponsible mining? Because don't forget that some of the politicians are saying that we are asking for the livelihoods of small-scale miners to be taken away from them. But this seems like a medium to large-scale endeavor, is it not?
No, but I think, Bernard, I'm not sure anybody I'm not sure the politicians are saying that what we are seeing is small-scale mining. They'll be very ashamed to admit that what we are seeing is small-scale mining. I think this is much more of a very well-organized syndicate of illegal, irresponsible miners who have gone to take siege in an area, and they are a law unto themselves, and they don't allow anybody to encroach. I understand that this area is a very hot security zone. You dare not go there. I hear they have a law unto themselves and all of that. You dare not think that you are going to try and enforce any law there. They are the law themselves. And so this cannot in any way be small-scale mining. If this is small-scale mining, then the government really has a lot to answer for. It's just unbelievable that we can watch it. I mean, the kind of small-scale mining that we are talking about is not like this, and it's not just what is expected. Now, but Bernard, I think you also made the point. I mean, the demands that we have been putting out there has not been about banning small-scale mining. It has been always about irresponsible mining, as we are seeing it. We know the government has been touting their own record and saying that they are committed to responsible mining and all of that. But we know there is no responsible mining that will lead to the result that we are seeing. There's no responsible mining that will allow anybody to go and mine in the forest. You wouldn't even sign a concession for it. So I think that we need to classify and say it as it is. This is irresponsible mining at its height, and the government is not really showing the leadership needed to make sure that we deal with this. It's so unfortunate, and I think the images that Edem is showing us is bringing the devastation close to home. And for those of us in the city who don't get a opportunity to travel outside and even try to justify the brute force of the police on protesters in Accra, they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea, and it's just unfortunate.
All right, now let's talk about what you did yesterday with your volunteers. We saw placards in town and Accra asking that we stop Galamsey. Why did you bring the campaign to Accra with a placard, outreach? What were you trying to do there?
I think, yes, we really wish we could bring these images to Accra. Actually, I think we need to mount some real billboards in the city where we are actually showing people what is happening, you know. I even wish that there will be some discovery of gold at East Legon so that the miners can move to Legon, East Legon, and start digging the houses. Then we will learn really what is happening. The main reason why we decided to do that was also to ensure that we bring the message home. There are people sitting in Accra, they watch people on television, they are so far removed. And I think the last time Ken Ashigbe did mention the fact that the middle class, these people who think that all is well, and when there's a problem, when the water is polluted, they can have the resources to even import water. These are the people we want to reach. These people who leave their homes in their comfortable vehicles, go to their offices, sign off deals, and they don't care what happens after that. That is why we brought the message home, carrying the demands of organized labor and also of civil society and the media coalition, and also to ensure that the demands and what we want to see, everybody gets to see. So they attend by government and other functionaries to actually misquote us in thinking that we're asking for a ban on small-scale mining can be averted. And as you know, nobody has asked that there should be a ban on small-scale mining. We have been very clear, and this is what we sought to see. So we stood at various vantage points. I think the churches use this particular approach very well, and also the political parties. So we thought that, look, let's bring this particular approach to bear also in this campaign. I really wish we could sustain this every day, and all CSOs, no matter where you are. We do it in Adenta, we do it in Kaneshi, we do it even in the rural communities, at the district assemblies, at the regional coordinating council, so that they know that we really mean business. And every little action around this time is one that can help a lot. That can help a lot.
I want to talk about rivers when we come back, because in the initial work Edem did, he also showed us some of the effect of this on rivers. So far, this has been a forest area. So we are still on the point of view. Edem, I just wanted to check if you were still there and find out if in this round of your journey, you observed some rivers as well, and what did you see, if you can share?
So with regards to rivers, I didn't do much of rivers this time, but I have only a shot of the Tano River at a village called Rioso Sefrimim Pasem. Yeah, it's a village that is located in the midst of forest, and the River Tano passes there. And they complained to me bitterly that the river that they used to fetch and used to drink and used to cook and used to do their house chores, they are no more able to fetch and use it for those chores. And most of the men around that area also told me that it's even now difficult to get fish from the river. And even if they do, they get few. And that is now only the mudfish. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll be right back. This is the point of view where following the trail of Galamsey with journalist Edem Srem, and we're also speaking to one of the lead campaigners in the Stop Galamsey crusade in the person of Daryl Bosu. Stay with us. Welcome back. Tonight, the point of view is showing the devastating trail of Galamsey, responsible mining across the country, with freelance journalist Edem Srem. We also have with us Daryl Bosu of A Rocha. Daryl, as somebody who's been campaigning for the environment for the past few years, how encouraged are you by the outpouring of anger in terms of the press statements issued and the solidarity? Channel 1, for example, had people come on the screen to take a stand against Galamsey. How encouraged are you by this, and how confident are you that this would lead to anything?
I think this is a very important question. I mean, we have never had a time in the fight against Galamsey where we've seen this much groundswell of interest from professional bodies, from organized labor, and I think it's so significant, and that's why I think that it is an opportunity that we cannot miss. This is the time, this is when the politicians are asking for our votes so that, in quotes, they can come and serve us when we know they don't really serve us. This is the time when they're out there campaigning and actually campaigning on the ticket of Galamsey. This is the right time to hit them. And it's also good to see that this is the time when civil society, organized labor is rising up and making demands and leveraging the power of all of us to really get government to do the right thing. I think it's really encouraging. I like the momentum that is building up and the fact that everybody is anticipating what is going to happen by the end of September. So I think it's one that is very, very opportune. We can't let it go. All of us, CSOs, wherever you are, whatever region you find yourself, you get online or you hit the streets, let's do it. I think this is the time, and we've not had a better time than this. We've not had a better time than this.
But some people think that beyond what the government is supposed to do, if the leading political parties don't join the campaign, the government won't do anything, because the Galamsey is an election issue as well. Some people think that one of the reasons the outcome of the district assembly elections was the way it was the fact that the clampdown against Galamsey affected the MPP. Indeed, some people think that some of the seats they lost in 2020 was due to the president's statement that he would fight Galamsey even if it would cost him the presidency. What are your thoughts around that? Do we need, for example, the NDC to also say something? What about the others? What's the political equation here?
Well, as we know, both political parties have had the chance to deal with Galamsey. We know the record of the NDC. They couldn't deal with Galamsey as should. And then even on the back of that, we went into the 2016 election with party flag bearers talking about their commitment to end Galamsey. I really recall Nanado really was in the forefront talking about how he's committed to restoring the environment. We took him up on that particular promise. All of us went to the polls, voted for him, expecting really a lot from him. And I remember his statement on January 7th when he was sworn in as president of the state. Everything is everywhere. I remember sitting in my sofa and clapping for the man. And I said, at long last, we are going to have the kind of feedback and response that we need to do with Galamsey. So to me, it's been quite shocking that we are still in power and we are saying that the decision or the interest and commitment to deal with Galamsey should be one relegated to the flag bearers who are seeking to contest this year, hoping to be in power by 2025. I think, yes, we might expect something from the flag bearers, and every voter wants to see what the politicians are going to say. But for me, I think that we are looking at the person in power now who said everything there was to say about commitment to restoring our natural heritage and cleaning our rivers. He even said that, yes, he acknowledges that there is a need for gold, but we cannot do that at the expense of our water bodies and at the expense of the health of citizens. He talked about doing the right thing, and even at the point talked about being prepared to put his presidency on the line. I don't know who else to turn to if I'm saying that Galamsey must be stopped than the president. So I really put a lot of expectation on this president than anybody else. I mean, for the NDC, they had the opportunity, and because of that, they also lost the election. I do not think that it's about whether you get vote. I mean, we are going into an election, yes, and we have such a crisis. Anybody who is telling us that we should vote for them, and then voting for them will mean they'll allow us to do Galamsey is really telling us that these people don't care about the citizens and the welfare, because the president himself agrees that allowing Galamsey to continue is not the right thing. Yes, we seem to be wanting to do things for vote, but that means that whoever is seeking our vote to serve us is not really interested in serving us, but rather interested in their own parochial interest. And this is where I would say that the electorate should be very vigilant and really listen to this. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of voting in Ghana most of the time is not based on ideology and what people think and what can really be good for the citizens, but more against tribal, sometimes political party lines, people not really considering what are the issue people are voting for. So that has always been the problem. But I think that anybody who says we should vote for them because they are going to sustain mining and make mining more the real deal for Ghana is not meant to be a leader for this country.
Finally, yesterday or so, the CSOs met the political parties, and at that event in Ebri, Professor Kwesi quoted some people who said Ghana had become a Galam state where we have criminally minded politicians working with politically minded criminals. That was so profound. Do you agree with him that what is going on has led Ghana to that state? Can we really describe Ghana as a Galam state?
You see, if you look at all that is happening on the ground, I mean, I was talking about, this man was talking about how a community in the eastern region called Potoase, they are practically under siege from one mining notorious guy known as Ronim. This guy has come to sit on the rivers there, he's mining. The communities have even gone to attack the activity, try to prevent him from engaging. When the police come in, they come and arrest the community people and leave the miner to continue their work. This has traveled as far as to the regional police command, the Water Resource Commission, the EPA. Everybody wants an end to the mining activities that's destroying the Densu, but we can't seem to find an end to it. Why is this happening? Does it mean that the police is complicit in what is happening? They know about whoever is mining, and why are they providing cover for illegal activity? If you go to the western region, Jurabansu, Sendu areas, in the Eziama, Elembele areas, communities are having to run away from going to their farms because people have taken hold of their farms and they won't let go. They're actually daring them to come and take the land from them. And it's the case you see across most places where the miners are well guarded, well armed, they have people protecting them. And it tells you that the security of the state is even at risk, because I mentioned the fact that I didn't mention that the whoever went to lead the team was talking about how 30 men went to try and deal with Galamsey, but got there, and then they were met with Galamseyers who were already holding well-armed and threatening them to come, so they had to abandon the call. So this tells you that, look, and what is happening is much more than a social and environmental crisis, but also a risk of security conflict and concerns that possibly in the future could arise, because it is also putting a lot of arms into the hands of people. And until we get to the bottom of this, every aspect of our social fiber will collapse and will really be exposed. And by the time we realize what we are doing, it will be too. Unfortunately, when it gets out of hand, all these people who are in leadership, who have the opportunity and the power to deal with it, would have relocated to other countries and will leave the rest of us to wallow in the conflict and the suffering, which will be very bad to happen to every Ghanaian as it is.
Thank you, Daryl. Let me end with Edem, if he's still there. So, Edem, what next for you? You appear with some quite startling images. You disappear again, and then you reappear. I've seen a lot of people share this video already, and it's generated a lot of discussion. What do you seek to do by releasing these videos, and what next for you?
Okay, thank you, Bernard. As Daryl was saying, it is the same point that people in Accra need to know that this menace is a havoc to every single person in Ghana. It's a havoc to every single animal in Ghana. Because if nothing is done and the mercury continues seeping and traveling into our water systems, it means that if the plantain from Sevirio or so is brought to Accra and you eat it, it means that you are going to be eating a contaminated plantain. If the fish from the Tano River, from the Pra River, is sent to the people of Tamale, it means that they will be eating contaminated fish. So that is why I do this video, so that everybody who will come across it will know that this is more than we are thinking, because the lives of every single Ghanaian, even the president himself, because unless maybe the presidency imports food from outside to eat. If not, it means that he might have even eaten mercury contaminated foods already. If you go to those areas, the Wasa areas, or in the western region, where the Pra River is drawn by the Ghana Water Company to provide potable water for people, it is already contaminated, and the mercury cannot be taken away completely. So even if you use that water that comes from the tap in the western region to brush your teeth, it means that you are still ingesting mercury into your system. So that is why I do this video, so that people will be aware of what is happening around the country in terms of how the degradations are going, how the pollution of the water systems are going. And the way for us, for me, I always say that I'm a 100 years war fighter. So I'll continue doing what I can and ask for God's protection. And also, it means that, Bernard, you have to write to the police to give me protection.
I think you've done a great job for 13 years or at 11 years. And of course, this is a very, very important job you do. And we will hope that the proper conscience of society would provide you the necessary support. So thank you very much, Edem Srem. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
We've been speaking to a freelance journalist who's been covering irresponsible mining for the past 11 years or more. We've also had Darabosu. We will spend the rest of the time we have to just show you more of his work for you to reflect on. But I think the clarion call has been made. Stop irresponsible mining. Stop Galamsey now. I stand against Galamsey. Thanks for watching. Good night.